What's up? My name's Glueboy, welcome back, and still no camera. This will be solved soon, but anyways, we'll just get right into it. Not gonna waste any time. Today we're talking about the Blood Angels. Last video was on Sanguinius, everyone's favorite Primarch, from what I've been seeing. And yeah, today we talk about his kids. And it's here that I'm going to preemptively apologize, since I'm not going to be talking about your favorite character. I know, but honestly, the problem is you Blood Angel fans having too many of them. It's kind of fucked up, not gonna lie. Like, leave some models for the rest of us. All I have is Kayvan Shrike. I don't got any other fancy people. There's a video on the Legion and the chapter, not every single aspect as much as I'd like to get into, say like Dante, Mephiston, Tycho, many more. But anyways, let's get into these Vampire Marines. So the Blood Angels have had a massive glow up from their initial incarnation back during the Unification Wars and taking over Terra. Now, picture the Blood Angels today, refined, a tad bit classy, and pretty noble people. Artists, poets, have like scholars, things like that. Good traits. Now toss that picture out of your head because they really weren't that back in the day. These dudes were horrific and brutal warriors that the Emperor only used if he really wanted something gone. That, or when you need to wage brutal war against some horrific shit from Old Knight. Another name for that period of warp fuckery that the Eldar caused when they made Slaanesh. That, and they were just like a little bit cannibalistic. They were renowned as revenants of the battlefield, as when the battle ended, they would kind of just hang around the corpses and just dabble a tad bit in feasting on the greatest combatants. So like 2 points from that. First, they're vampires. The Red Thirst, I will get into it. The second is that Space Marines have an organ that let them see the memories of the meat that they eat. So it's never explicitly said, but I have a small little theory that this doubled as like a training exercise in a weird way. You really struggle against some fight against an enemy champion, and then you eat them, grab their memories, all their training regimen, you've kind of done it. Like Neo from the Matrix, but with more cannibalism. But fast forwarding through the Sanguinius stuff, because I already talked about that in my last video, when they reunited with Sanguinius, this dude was faced with a real pickle. Sanguinius is a pretty nice dude at the end of the day. Sure, he'll pop off when shit goes down and is really murder a guy, but like he's cool about it. He has some grace. So when he saw his men fight for the first time and had this horrific bloodlust and probably the cannibalism, he decided something should be done. So he really worked hard to refine his men. First, he shacked up with Horus and the Luna Wolves, famed for being brutal, but still kind of cool about it. As well as training with the Luna Wolves, he worked to temper the rage that a lot of people had in the Blood Angels into something more productive, like reading and art. Like, you know those banners that Blood Angels carry? That's because like they're good artists. That's why they have such really nice tapestries. The Blood Angel carrying it probably made it himself. And they decided to embrace more of the noble warrior path, because this method worked. They tempered that rage a lot, built it to something constructive, and became like refined warriors. Granted, still with chainsaw weaponries, they'll saw you in half, but like they'll be more cool about it. As well, this actually built into one of their main strategies, as this noble warrior turned monsters was like their main draw. Since Sanguinius was a pretty cool guy, he would go down to the planet and give them an ultimatum before doing any warfare. If the planet fully submitted to the Imperium, everything would be alright, all hunky-dory, good on you, we'll carry on, leave you be. But if you don't, the Blood Angels will be fully unleashed to wreak havoc on the world and just, conquer it the old-fashioned way by murdering everybody. So besides that, there are two major things we have to talk about when it comes to the Blood Angels. That being their flaws. So the big thing with Blood Angels are their gene seed flaws. And they have a pretty good amount compared to some of the other chapters. Like, I know the Space Wolves have some major ones, but these guys, they're the most famous, I believe. That, it doesn't help that I see a lot of people confused on what these two flaws actually are. So I'm going to explain them. First up is the Red Thirst, where from the creation of, becoming a Blood Angel, you have this innate thirst for blood. They're vampire Space Marines. And some fall to it and start drinking folks in the middle of battle because they can't keep this thirst in check. Because you can resist it, and many do for most of their lives. You can keep it in check with drinking it in more productive and better ways, like a nice little goblet or a blood vial. And this is extra important because this is a massive, shameful secret for the chapter. And they make great strides to keep this under wraps. There's some multiple stuff with this during the Horus Heresy when it really popped off, because Sanguinius was really worried if Big E found out about this massive flaw, they would get missing Primarchs and just be gone, and suddenly there are 17 legions left. And actually, fun little fact, Horus found out about this, and being the pretty cool friend that he was at the time, he kept this a secret from Big E. But many Marines still succumb to the Red Thirst, and while you can partake in just like a bit of blood, or even just go crazy a little bit, drink a full person, and then just recover and be like, oh my god, I'm so upset I did that, sometimes that doesn't happen, and they're fully gone in their bloodlust, where they are screaming about how they just want to drink blood, they're hungry, all that stuff. Feral vampire stuff. And from what I've read, it seems like the best method they deal with them is by locking them up in a fortress monastery in the tower. And it's noted if you're walking around a Blood Angels fortress monastery, you might just hear the screams of those lost to the Red Thirst. The next one is the Black Rage, and the Black Rage is really cool. So, the important thing about the Blood Angels, when they're being created, the way they imbue the gene seed is they drink a chalice full of like synthesized blood of Sanguinius. And this process allows them to be like almost psychically linked to their Primarch. They get a lot of his memories and his experiences immediately blasted into them. But this kind of causes a problem, since Sanguinius is dead, and being linked like that to a dead guy leads to some issues. Occasionally, a Blood Angel Marine might have some really cool battle they're currently in, like fighting for their life, and they'll just get blasted with the memories of Sanguinius during the Siege of Terra. The one where man was at like peak Primarch level and was the actual angel of death that Space Marines aspire to be. So the Blood Angel believes that they're in that final battle against the Traitors at the Gate, and even gets a bit of a Sanguinius power boost because of it. And there's a thing I see a lot, a bit of a misconception. You don't see everybody as Horus. You see them all as the ones responsible for Sanguinius's death or the events of the Siege of Terra. And when you add this with the power boost and this absolute derangement, they kind of just start killing whatever they see, whatever is right in front of them. And because this is 40k, they're put into a suicide detachment called a Death Company, where they're just dropped into enemy lines so they can go berserk on, their foes rather than their allies. A little like productive method. Sadly though, once you fall to the Black Rage, you're pretty much stuck there till you die. There's no reversing it, though there is one exception. Mephiston was hit by that twice, and he recovered, which I'll say is ridiculous. It's unheard of. And Dante is also doing his absolute damnedest not to fall to the Black Rage. So I guess I will talk a little bit about Dante, just a little bit, because Commander Dante is the chapter master of the Blood Angels, and this dude rules. Firstly, he's fucking ancient for a Space Marine. He's like 1,600 years old. Space Marines can't die of old age with all their augments. They don't degrade like that, but on average, die in like their 300 to 400s. Since all they do is fight, they just die in battle. And Dante is way older than that. It's taken his toll. This man is like exhausted and tired and really wants to die, but he can't. Mainly because he's special. When he was going through the induction, drank the chalice full Sanguinius' blood, he almost got linked in an extra special way, and was able to recall things only Sanguinius knew about, screaming the names of long-dead Primarchs, stuff like that. Ancient demon names, it's a whole thing, and he's also a child of prophecy. Sanguinius wrote a big book of them, and there's a prophecy of a lone golden-clad warrior that is the one who stands between destruction and the Emperor, much like he did at the Gates of Eternity. Which, being a golden-clad warrior, he fits that bill. So when dying means the Imperium might go down, that kind of throws a whole wrench in retirement or dying early. That and Sanguinius just straight up won't let him. In the Devastation of Baal, he died during a fight with a Hive Tyrant, and he had a vision of Sanguinius and the Sanguinor. It was like immediately like, hell yeah, prophecy's done. I can just die. Take me into the light. But Sanguinius was like, nope, time isn't right. You have to fight for me more, and revived him, much to his dismay. So eventually the Horus Heresy ends, and yada yada yada. A lot of battles happen. Like I mentioned, the Blood Angels have a lot of shit, so they get a lot of stories. So anyways, we'll skip to one of the bigger ones. They got some major beef with the Tyranids after the whole Devastation of Baal thing. This is a massive event, and honestly, like, pretty history-defining for them. So let's just get into it. High Fleet Leviathan decided to swing on by and murder the Blood Angels in the Baal system, which led to an absolutely brutal campaign that first involved Dante calling every single successor chapter back to Baal to defend it, and then they did their absolute damnedest to fight off the High Fleet. Didn't go the greatest, sadly. They only survived due to some other parties getting involved. Which first happened, the first one, happened when all seemed lost. The Blood Angels were pushed back to their main fortress monastery on Baal, and the Tyranids grew by the millions as everyone died. Then, Cadia fell. Yeah, this was going on at the same time. The Great Rift shot out and split the galaxy in two, largely engulfing the Baal system. And out of the rift, with his WWE intro, came Kabanda. The Bloodthirster had an eternal rivalry with the Blood Angels due to the 2-time severe ass-kicking from Sanguinius. He decided to pull a nobody kills the Blood Angels but me and murdered a lot of bugs with a lot more demons. Through this big warp storm, it did kind of kill everybody on the moon of Baal Prime. Everyone there died. And even later, they went up there and found a shrine to Khorne made of Tyranid skulls. Sick shit. And then, still didn't help, as everything seemed lost yet again. Only for good old Papa Smurf himself, Rabute Gilliman, to swing on by for the rescue. With that, actually, the Nid threat was gone and they could rebuild. Thankfully, the Ultramarines and Gilliman decided to stay on by and help rapidly rebuild, which I think was an excuse for Gilliman just to do a little bit more empire building before he had to go back to the shit show that was Terra. And here he also decided to give Commander Dante the Lord Regent of the Imperium Nihilus position, a position I bet he cried when he received. And now the Fortress Monastery on Baal is the primary headquarters for the Imperium agents that are actually on that side of space. And the Blood Angels are leading the charge against a lot of issues. However, as much flack as you could give the Blood Angels for, they are the best guys for the job. They're doing a good job with what they got. And we'll see, maybe Lionel Johnson will help out the Blood Angels and remove Dante from his role. Something he'd be very happy to hear, but I doubt it. This is 40k, they're not going to do that. I imagine what's going to happen, here's my little theory, come back when I'm correct, is that Lionel Johnson's going to swing by, say, good job, Dante, you're doing the leading thing. I don't really like doing that. I'm going to go kill more bugs. See ya. And then leave as Dante sheds a single tear. Because regardless, Dante will never know peace in 40k. That's just a universal fact. And here's where I do rules, but you know what? I'm not going to be doing rules for the next couple months, as 10th edition's coming out, and to be honest, I don't really have any interest making segments of videos that in I think 2 or 3 months are just going to be inaccurate. Not the point. So expect no real rules stuff here. Wait till 10th edition, then I'll get into it then. But anyways, that's the video. If you like this, like, comment, subscribe, hit my membership, do that stuff, and see ya.